You can call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Mansur Abdul-Malik takes on Nick Klein this Saturday at UFC Fight Night Seattle, Washington. In a short notice fight got put together within the last week or so. Abdul-Malik was supposed to be taking on Antonio Tricoli. Tricoli had to drop out. They're bringing in Nick Klein as a short notice replacement off of the Contender Series. Nick Klein coming off of a first round 37-second rear naked choke win over Geraldo Souza back in October of 2024 in Dana White's Contender Series. Before that, had a record of 5-1 on the regional scene. Fights out of I think it's Wisconsin. Former high school wrestler, not a college wrestler, so not tons of experience. Lost to a guy, Dorjan Dokaj, back in 2022 by ground and pound. Wasn't the best looking performance. Ever since then, though, he's rattled off 3 rear naked choke victories over decent competition, 12-4. Corey Simpson's 22-21, and then Geraldo Souza was 9-1 at the time of that fight. Mansur Abdul-Malik, same thing, coming off of Dana White's Contender Series, but has been in the UFC. Debuted against Dusko Todorovic recently back in November, so he's hopping back in there with no real turnaround, which makes sense because he didn't take a lot of damage in that fight. He beat the brakes off of Dusko Todorovic. Mansur Abdul-Malik, I think this guy's got a very bright future in the UFC. He's 7-0, only 27 years old, fights out of MMA Masters, so very great gym down in Florida. You know, Colby Covington, a lot of those guys down there. 6'2", 80-inch reach, so big frame, really strong dude. Used to wrestle at University of Maryland, and he wrestled at like 285 pounds, which is just absolutely insane. I know he wrestled in like 190, 220, up in the 280s in high school as well, so now fighting at 185. So dude's used to wrestling monsters in college. Now he's fighting 185, probably walking around at 210, 215 pounds. So definitely going to be the bigger fighter in this fight, and I think this is the lock of the card. Nick Klein, not the best striker. He's got obviously a decent jiu-jitsu game, but I feel like that's his only way to win in this fight, and I just think he's going to be outsized. He's going to be out-grappled in this fight if he even goes to the ground. Mansur Abdul-Malik, he's got a great jab. He switches stances, a lot of power on the feet. He can get looping. He was getting loopy with his punches in his last fight against Dusko, but I think it was just because he knew how hurt he was and was trying to get him out of there. But Mansur Abdul-Malik, sky's the limit for this kid. I think he's got a bright future at middleweight. Middleweight's not the most deep division right now, and with his very good wrestling background, his strength, his punching power, just ferocious ground and pound against Dusko Todorovic, who going for leg locks, going for knee bars, going for heel hooks, while you got this monster of a man just raining down, punches on you on the ground. Just scary is what it was. They were talking about, how loud his ground and pound is back in Dana White's Contender Series, and you could hear it in this last fight that he had against Todorovic. So I don't think Nick Klein, he could always catch a submission. I don't think he's going to really have a chance on the feet. So I really do think Abdul-Malik takes this one. He's a huge favorite, -800. Nick Klein's a +410. This just changes. So Tapology, so a -560. I just looked at DraftKings. He's a -1000 favorite, but he's a -115 for a first round KO. That's my pick. I think he's going to get this guy out of there early. I look at Nick Klein's previous fights. His only 2 losses were to a guy named Niall Bartling in his amateur days about almost 5 years ago, and then Dorjan Dokaj almost 3 years ago. Same thing. Got kind of tired, was getting out wrestled on the ground, kind of just turned around, faced the mat, and just got kind of pounded out. He looked like he kind of quit, and that's kind of how I see this fight going. I think he's going to get in there, realize he made a big mistake accepting this fight on short notice, and look for a way out. I think Abdul-Malik's going to put him on the ground either by wrestling or by takedown or hurting him on the feet. And I think he's eventually just going to pound him out from mount or with his hooks in from the back. So I'm going with Mansur Abdul-Malik, first round KO, lock of the card. Thanks.